What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Best Bet show. It's your boy, MattyChucks, aka the Theater Thug, with the hat I have on today. It's cold. It's like below freezing. Let's fucking go is right. Oh, my alarm went off. Oh boy. What's going on? Hey, what's up, OG? What's going on, man? Uh, Vibes are high. We're cruising right now. We absolutely crushed November. Went up about 17 units in November off straight bets alone. Hit a couple parlays, just missed the mega, stuff like that. Then we hit a little bit of a rough week, first week of December. But since then, we've been crushing. I think 14 of the last 19 bets have all won. A ton of kicker props today. And I mean, some insane value in the kicker prop department. Now, I want to talk about that first. I'm not going to bring up I'm not going to bring up a bunch of kicker props cuz I know a lot of you guys aren't fans of kicker props, but I'm a fan of what pays. And let's just be honest, kicker props pay. They absolutely pay. We're going to do a mega lotto in a little bit, but I mean, I'm going to share my screen a little bit. Let me move my to this monitor. Let me share my screen a little bit. And let me just talk a little bit about about these lines, right? To find the field goal props that I love, and I think you can make some nice parlays out of this. Let me get out of the let me take my brand off real quick. Hold on. Boom. Okay. I think you make some nice parlays out of these where you can see field goals made, blah blah blah, kicking points, the regular bread and butter. And then you have field goal yards here, which is like longest field goal in the game. And the numbers are always 47 and a half, maybe 48 and a half, maybe 46 and a half. They're never any different. I think that's pretty dumb just because there's weather factors, there's just different kickers, different teams that just play differently. And that's what we're getting into right now. I mean, you look at field goal props, longest field goal made, okay? Now, game script does come into play here. The Ravens at minus 135 for longest field goal made with Justin Tucker is a pretty decent line considering you look at field goals made, and Gano is minus 235 for under 1.5 field goals. And Justin Tucker, they think about a 50-50 shot ish with the VIG that he's going to hit 2 field goals. Now, the reason why that's important is because if you have a guy who has the longest field goal and you're giving him 2 field goals to try instead of 1, I mean, that's insane value off the bat, let alone the fact that it is Justin Tucker. Now, some people say Justin Tucker's fallen off. Sure, I get that. But there's some lines that make zero sense. I mean, the Steelers line got worse? Okay, this is what I don't get. The Steelers won at plus 105 makes 0 sense to me. And I get it. Steelers are underdogs. Underdogs are always going to take less field goals. Just via game script wise, because if they're chasing touchdowns at the end, they're not going to obviously kick the field goal. You do, however, get those situations where if it's a 2-score game, they're down 10. Some teams opt to kick the field goal, then go for the onside kick. Some teams decide to go for the touchdown. It depends on the coach and situation, really. But either way, plus 105, I brought them up right here. This is Jake Elliott, kicker of the Eagles. I remember when Jake Elliott first came on the scene. I'm a Giants fan. He hit like a 56-yard or 58-yarder or something like that to win the game. And I was like, this guy is going to be a monster kicker for years to come. However, this year, the Eagles are interesting, right? They have the tush push. They have crazy offensive weapons in Saquon now. If they're on the 50 or the 40, and it's like anything short of 4th and 5, most of the time they're going for it. That's just the way that their coaching staff, that's how Sirianni wants to do things. It's how Dan Campbell usually runs things too, where they're not going to take those long field goals. If they're in that little wishy-washy spot, they'll go for it. Unless it's like unless it's 4th and 12, really like get sacked for a loss on that 3rd down, maybe you'll see that. But even so, he's only taken, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Let me how do I put the thingy up? Here we go. So Jake Elliott 0 for 5 from 50 plus yards. His longest this year is 49, which I guess 49 is still long, but it's not 50 plus. So he's 0 and 5 for 50 plus. That means A, he has not made a 50 plus yarder this year, but B, he's only attempted 5. Then you go to Chris Boswell, who's not only leading the entire league in kicking, he's leading the entire league in kicking long field goals. He's taken 13 attempts at 50 plus yards. You know, and there's 1 week he didn't even kick a field goal. Oh, and he's 11 of 13 on those. So for him to have plus 105 again on the longest field goal, it just makes no sense to me. And I will say this time and time again, sports betting is all about finding the edges until they are gone, right? There are things that I used to do in hockey that they've since taken away, took the edge away. There's total bases used to be an insane value for me because their prices were always like plus 140. Maybe you had a minus 110 for a guy who was a lock for baseball, but also the shift, the shift being there made them have to hit for doubles and home runs. Now with the shift being banned, a lot of more players are hitting singles, not going over their bases. And then they also juiced their odds on the bases. So I was making a ton of money off that until they kind of took the edge away. Field goal props to me feels like we're in that situation where they don't know how to price these things. They're going to put the favorite in the game to probably have the longest field goal. And there's really no factors coming into stats, I don't think. I don't know how they're pricing this, so don't take that as like, oh, I know how they're making their algorithms here. But a lot of it just doesn't make any sense. And I also think they're going to pay attention to where their volume's coming from. And their volume's coming on the spread, the total, touchdowns, passing yards, Saquon's rush yards. It's not going to be on field goal props, let alone a niche field goal prop market. And that's where I think the most money that you can make comes into play. They also have the Cowboys at plus 100. Brandon Aubrey's hit a 65-yarder this year. It's a pick'em game. You look at NFL kicker stats. You can go right here and just go here. Our big three, Chris Boswell, Fairbairn, and Aubrey. Those are our three musketeers where we just absolutely crush their props. And like you're getting a guy, all three kickers that we picked today are in monster spots. I mean, they are just nuking the ball. I mean, look at Fairbairn. You want to even do Fairbairn? I don't like Fairbairn as much because Jason Sanders has been very good from deep as well, but take the Texans' longest field goal there. That's all I'm saying is I think there's a ton of value to be made in this category. This is probably a good spot here. Both teams make a 33-yarder or more. You have 2 kickers to go from there. Another one to do that would be also the Bucks and the Chargers. And this is a plus 1428 parlay here that like I think in my and MattyChucks odds should be like plus 700, plus 800 maybe. Like they're giving you insane value here. Obviously this game is on Monday, but I did post a kicker prop that I do love in the Dub Club today, so make sure to go check that out if you're a part of it. Might post a kicker lotto or something, one from every game. But let's go down to what you guys actually want, and that is non-kicker props. Let's just be honest. It's not kicker props, and I get it. You have the Commanders and the Saints. Okay? It's a weird game. We're in this situation where some teams are done, some teams are still in. The NFL, National Football League, the NFC. The Saints are 5-8. They're not making the playoffs. Derek Carr just got hurt. They're throwing that zesty quarterback in, and they're done. The Commanders, on the other hand, are 8-5. They're fighting for their playoff lives. The problem is they're not going to win the division. That's just not happening. Eagles have won 9 in a row. The Eagles also beat the Commanders. I don't know what we said. That's a great point on. Might be the kicker props. I'm not sure, but it's what that's kind of my niche. It is what it is. You look at the NFL standings. I guess I could put them over here too. The Saints are done, right? This is the Falcons and the Bucks division. I think the Bucks are honestly getting healthier / playing better football right now. And the Commanders, Problem with the Commanders is that they have to deal with the NFC West in the Rams or the Seahawks, and they also have to deal with these two teams here. So they may not make the playoffs, but the Commanders being, I believe, 7.5-point favorites. I'm not sure what I like in this game. I do like Brian Robinson to score a touchdown. I think I like his rushing yards as well. See if I can find the props here. I'm not really a fan of anything else in this game. I think he's in a great spot. He's gonna get a ton of touches. I don't trust the Saints at all. I don't trust this guy one bit. I don't trust Kamara. I don't know what they're gonna do. So I'd probably just go Brian Robinson props in that game. Low total, big spread, just an ugly game in my opinion. An interesting game here below is the Bengals and the Titans. And we also happen to Joe Burrow. His house just got broken into. He had a girl staying there that was not his fiance. Not only did his house get broken into, but he's probably dealing with that all week. I'm sure it has not been a good week. He's probably gonna, if he has any chance of keeping his girl, which I doubt he does, he's gonna have to go crazy this Christmas. You can't even propose to her because you already did. I don't know what else you could buy, what else you could do to make the situation any better. But he's probably not been in his best headspace all week. I would just assume. They're also done. I don't know if they're mathematically out yet, but 5-8 in their division and in the AFC alone is just not going to cut it. And the Titans, we could talk about Titans later. I do think the Titans are losing on purpose. Not losing on purpose, but you know what I mean. If they lose, they don't care. And maybe they're not trying their hardest to really win these games. I do like Jamar Chase. I think a lean I had was Jamar Chase. I don't know why FanDuel doesn't have longest reception right now, but I do like Jamar Chase. Oh, here it is. Jamar Chase, 26.5, longest reception. We played it last week. I think it's a great spot again. Yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy. Yeah. You come in and you learn some stuff. I will say he was pretty smart. The girl that he had staying at his house was had the same name. Their both names were both Olivia, so he never got the name wrong. Don't know if it's a smart move or not, but maybe he's just a big Olivia guy. Who knows? Maybe it's his mom's name. Maybe he had some trauma with the name. I don't know. Either way, Jamar Chase probably still getting fed. Everyone's going to be all over T. Higgins. Yeah, I could see that too. But Jamar Chase, again, you can go maybe stay away from receiving yards, but his longest reception, I mean, they're trying to break records here. They're trying to get Chase to just get an absolute bag and a half. I didn't even think of this. I mean, if we're making betting odds, that could be like a plus 300 pivot. I don't really know any other ones to be safe, to be fair. That's probably the only one I do know, and I couldn't even think of that off the top of my head. But either way, I mean, she's got to be on the radar now. She's got to be thinking, I might have a chance with Joe Burrow. That's where my mind would be at. I don't know if she thinks like that, though. This is the best game of the one of the best games of the. I don't know who that is. You mean Dunn? I don't know. Paul Skeens is there. I mean, she could be thinking it too, though. That'd be even a bigger plot twist. What if there's just like a bunch of Olivias at the house? Tank Dell, longest reception is now 27.5. Oh, not Tank Dell, sorry. Nico Collins, longest reception at 27.5. This has been a 25.5er until they realized that was just a stupid line. Shout out Austin Props for honestly. Oh, really? There's an Olivia Munn and Olivia Dunn? That's crazy. Austin Props put everyone on this bet first. I'm not going to lie. At least it was one of the bigger accounts to do it. I mean, look at this log. You look at 27.5, you have 55, 28, 34, 26, 67, 33, 56, and 40. It's probably a good look again. I don't fault it at all. This game's going to be interesting. Be careful on the Jonnu Smith stuff. We do know that the Texans, I believe the Texans are the top, if not top two worst targets for tight ends. I think it might be the Lions. I'm going to try and guess here. I think it's the Lions and the Texans. I don't know who's first. Texans worst matchup for tight ends. So be careful on the Jonnu Smith train. It's going to be a battle of, the not rising star, but the guy who's getting a bunch of touches, a bunch of targets. Is this where it stops? Is this where you sell high on Jonnu Smith? I'd say probably. Even receiving yards, they just flip flop. Just a bad matchup for Jonnu Smith, and the Dolphins have a ton of guys in general. So just be careful there. I do think Joe Mixon gets in the end zone. What's the total in this game? 46.5. It's probably where I thought it'd be. I'm not really a fan of the Texans this year. I think CJ Stroud is struggling a little bit. I kind of like the Dolphins at plus chicken here. But I do like the over. I think the over is in a good spot. Anytime I have the Dolphins with Tua and CJ Stroud, anything under 50 seems like a doable number. Like these two being the same total just seems kind of odd to me. I know the defenses are worse, but I mean, you're looking at two high-powered offenses versus one really high-powered and one not. But yeah, we're all over kicker props in this game. As far as certain props, I really don't have a side here. I like the Dolphins. I think Tua is feeling himself. I mean, you look at what Tua's done. I don't think he's thrown an interception in a couple games. I think he's had 2+ passing touchdowns in a couple as well. Just to double check here. Yeah, 3, 4, 2, 2, and 0. I mean, he's cooking. I mean, that one loss to Green Bay was in the cold in Green Bay. We know Tua does not like the cold. The Dolphins I don't think they're going to make the playoffs per se, but they're still not technically out, so they're still playing for stuff. I don't know. I kind of like the Dolphins in this game a little bit. The Texans have just been so inconsistent for me, you know. And then the Chiefs and the Browns. The interesting thing about the Chiefs here, I'm not sure they keep playing everyone these games. They're a little banged up of a football team, and I didn't realize how much of a lock they probably are to win the number 1 seed. Let's see. The Texans 8-5. They're not cutting it. Steelers at 10-3, and they're underdogs in this game, so it could be 10-4, which would probably knock them out for good. And the Bills playing the Lions at 10-3, they could be 10-4 as well. And the Chiefs with a win could be 13-1, and that would pretty much lock them into the number 1 seed, which gives them the bye, lets them rest the last couple weeks. And they're probably getting Hollywood Brown back. So this is looking like another recipe of possibly another Chiefs three-peat. I know they're not the best team on paper, but they dealt with the Pacheco injury. They found out a way to win without Rashee Rice. Now they're getting Hollywood Brown. They have D-Hop. Their own line's a little bit of a struggle, but their defense keeps them in every game. And for them to be able to rest and get some chemistry the last couple weeks and kind of ease off is just such a big thing for them. So I'd be weary of Chiefs props probably going forward, especially with Pacheco. I don't think he's going to be getting – I think him and Hunt are going to split carries a ton up until the playoffs. Would just be my guess. Low total. I think it's a rough weather game as well here, if I'm not mistaken. But it is what it is. And then we have the Cowboys and the Panthers. Cowboys at underdogs versus the Panthers. Again, I'm not a believer in this Cowboys team whatsoever, but I'm taking probably any team besides the Patriots and the Mac Jones Jaguars and the Giants. I'm probably taking anyone but those 3 teams at plus money versus the Panthers. I'm not going to lie. That's going to be a MattyChucks system play there. I don't know. I just think that this game is just insanely weird. I like CeeDee Lamb. I like Dowdle. I obviously like Brandon Aubrey. To me, it just screams. I don't know how you're taking the Panthers at -2.5. You know what I'm saying? And the Jets and Jaguars is another just gross game. There are just some disgusting games on this slate. I wasn't a fan of this week as much. Ravens Giants 16.5 point spread. I'm not even going to talk about. We could look at what we want to do here though. This is the game of the day, right? People should have SGPs for this game nonstop. I like Chuba a lot. I think Chuba is going to have Chuba. I think he's going to have an absolute monster game. And the Cowboys' rush defense has been terrible. I kind of like if you're going to do his attempts. I like both. He's a workhorse back, especially if they're going to be winning late. He's going to soar over, but I think he could break a couple big ones. So I kind of like might lean yards there. But yeah, I think either or. I think you kind of can't go wrong. It's almost like you're at a restaurant. You're at a fancy restaurant. You can't tell if you want the steak or the lobster. Either one's fine. You're going to get fed either way. It's just kind of preference at that point. I like Josh Allen rushing yards. 40 plus has now moved. Trying to see what else I was thinking for some sort of. I like. Oh, where's Robinson at? Not Robinson. Where's Thomas at? I like the latter. Not gonna lie. I might go 60 plus there. That looks solid to me. Jamar Chase, I like just to keep feeding for sure. It's just one of those rough weeks. I'm not even gonna lie. I kind of like Jalen Warren receiving yards here with Pickens out. There's really only a couple games though that we could do. Bucks trying to go for that record with Mike Evans. He's got to get to 1,000 yards. I think I need more points than that. I wouldn't take the Chiefs at 4, but I think I'd want like a 5.5, 6er in that game. I know the weather's gonna be bad. Could be a good live spot though. I'd probably stay away personally. It's definitely a big public Jameis spot though. Another guy, Stone Smart. I might take his 25 plus. Stone Smart coming in for Disley. He's in a good spot. He caught a ton of passes after our Disley hooked last week, which was brutal. I guess I could go Hubbard. We talked about it. I don't know why I was just going wide receivers. Let's see. Probably go 80. I'd rather just do this then. Am I still in the 800s? No. I could probably go 90. I can go 90. This is pretty solid. This is pretty solid. You got a quarterback, rushing yards, a wide receiver, a tight end, and a running back. You know, we can call that, you know, in each position prop. I really like that. That's a great stat. Is he actually? He's at 99 receiving touchdowns. That is a great nugget. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name, but I think that your username is esoteric. I don't even know. I'm not even going to try the last one. Not going to lie. But that is a great nugget. Great nugget. Devontae Adams TD is probably a pretty good look. It's probably plus money. I'm going to hop off now, though, guys. I think I'm going to post this parlay for the people. And I'm going to post a bunch of first touchdown stuff and touchdown parlays going forward. It's time to win some Christmas money. Let's have ourselves a week. Catch you guys next time. Peace out.